also have the technological aspect and interoperability aspects and human-machine interaction aspects. So this shows us that in order to develop learning objects for people who are visually impaired, we would need to introduce certain patterns, certain characteristics related to the interaction, accessibility, and, of course, the pedagogical aspects or characteristics. And it is there that we decided to create the techno-pedagogical pattern or template. And this tries to create a generator of, or that would be used, of content to be used. And how do we do this? Well, these technologies for the accessibility of the visually impaired in Latin America is not very well extended, and so many times it is the teachers themselves who want to develop resources for the people with disabilities actually do not even know what characteristics they have to have. Many institutions have worked on standards, on different templates or patterns, but these patterns are developed for human-machine interaction with computers, etc. And we need to be able to take these patterns, these templates that have already been used, not just the pedagogical, but also the human-machine interaction, accessibility, etc., bring it all together and include it into this techno-pedagogical pattern or template. And this will bring in all the characteristics that will be in a repository of templates or patterns, and so that if any teacher wants to use a specific template, it can interact with the generator that we have called Genoavir, and so that he can use all the templates that are in that repository in order to only just give information about the subject that he wants to teach using the templates that are already in this catalog. And of course, we can train the teacher about how to develop these objects. But if we do not have that education, why don't we start from this? Why do not provide a tool so that automatically they can introduce the contents and this generator generates the template that this person should use for that specific content. Regarding the characteristics for the pattern, we have said that they are interface characteristics, accessibility, pedagogical, and interaction characteristics. All these characteristics have been taken from different standards and previous work done by the Accedo group at the ONCE, by the W3C, sorry, also by the W3C mobile web initiative, smartphones, etc., and also the work done by self-description for people who are visually impaired. So all these works have been brought together and have been included in this pattern, and they will be available there in this template, and they will be available there for everyone. Regarding the accessibility characteristics, we have taken into account text, sounds, images, etc. Regarding sounds, we say here that the speech regarding the presentation of the scenario and the activity have to have not just images or text, but also voice explaining it. There must be also keys that make it possible to navigate or surf through the content. Also, there must be precise information, and whenever possible, they must be recorded with natural voices or natural sounds. Moreover, this information sentences that are read or voices should include sound illustrations that are continuous or intermittent, so that one can repeat the sentence in the voice. Also, we have to say how long it's going to take to load. We have to actually voice it out, and the voice must be soft in order not to interfere with other sounds that are typical of that activity. Any actions in an activity should take into account an associated sound, like to select the element, to leave the element, end of activity, correct, wrong, end of the activity, right, and end of the activity with mistakes. And in general, this should all be seen on the screen, and it must all be related to a sound illustration. Of course, this must all be different. These sounds must be different to the others, and when any message on correct messages or error messages should have a sound to them. And also, these are even more necessary when the student is young. It's necessary to offer messages of positive reinforcement, and also they should be edited from 14 points equivalent to 19 pixels, and it should be well contrasted with the background. Regarding the headlines, that we should use the specifications mentioned for text in general, so the font should be 48 pixels, and then we will propose different contrasts for the type of font and the background. And so the teachers will not have to spend time doing this. Just the template is going to explain how all this should be done. Regarding the images in general, they have to use a description that is not beyond 128 characters, and they must use the attribute long desk. Also, they should identify it with a phrase that describes the meaning of it. Also, for images in general, we have to see if the images contain text. They have to be, they have to have the alt attribute. If it's necessary, they will also carry out a detailed description of the image, and then the description will be immediately after the image. And if the image is used for only aesthetic reasonings, they will add the attribute alt as null. And in that case, the generator will tell the teacher, as I've said, each of these characteristics. And the teacher can even choose between using one image, and then the generator will say that they have to describe the image straight after the image. Or if they use text, it will say when the recording has to be, of the voice has to be done, etc., or the sound. Regarding the content, of course, the content will have sounds, Flash animation, videos, activities, amongst others. For Flash, we should use JavaScript or ActionScript to detect if the user is using a screen reader or not. In that way, they can redirect the page. We must use the attributes that are forecasted by the ActionScript language in order to order the elements within Flash, and thus guarantee the correct the correct use of the keyboard. If the Flash content cannot be accessible, then they have to provide an alternative page in HTML so that the screen reader can synthesize the content and so that it can integrate audio to the Flash. Regarding the videos, these videos should be narrated. For live videos, we suggest placing a link immediately after the video with a summary of everything that has happened according to the estimate duration of the video. So if the video is going to last 1 hour, then maybe the link can be updated every 5 minutes with a detailed description of everything that's happened in each of those 5 minutes that have elapsed. Regarding the characteristics of accessibility, we propose certain activities, and these activities are also related to the assessment done by the object. So we propose activities for the students, such as puzzles, selection activities, drag and drop activities, etc. And so we have different activities for accessibility. Regarding the pedagogical characteristics, we propose activities such as, for instance, opening the door. How should we initiate a learning object? How do we break the ice? How do we capture the attention of the student? Well, we have to provide a detailed description right at the beginning of the content that will be the center of the learning objects, and we should inform about any changes between one lesson and the other. Another important pedagogical characteristic is what we call early bird. How can we order all the topics so that the students can appreciate the main ideas of the course? What is the content that we must show in the course? Here we should introduce the most important ideas at the beginning of the course and reiterate them during the development of the course, as the course goes on. Another pedagogical characteristic is, do you remember? How can you remember what we studied before? How will the student remember what we have studied previously? For this, we provide them a small exercise in which the students have to express what they've said in their own words, and for the end of the course, then, how can we end this learning object without the student wanting to continue learning? Well, in that case, at the end of the learning object, we have to show them information on the topic. We have to publish information on bibliographic references, and also everything that has been